in comic books, right? We see what they do to us in comic books. Hip hop was one of the biggest thing that happened back in the 90s, and well, it went further back than that, but 90s is when it really jumped off. The whole world knew hip hop, and they knew black men as these rough thugs type, individuals. Didn't take no shit. And now we go right from that to this milk toast, moist ass, bitch made, I'll tell you, society of men that they're trying to portray us as. And with every show that you see, they, even from dark skin, but the light skin ones is even worse. They really play them moist as hell, man. It's like, yo, you know what moist is, right? Y'all know what moist is.
No moisture.
Nah.
Nice night. Been real hot lately. Nothing hotter than Chicago in August. It's the humidity that gets to you.
Humidity, you know. Moisture in the air.
Yeah, moisture. And we seeing a lot of moisture. The humidity is high with some of these niggas out here, boy. Humidity is high. You see them wearing their afros now. They look like Homie the Clown, boy. They look like Homie the Sideshow Clown. They look like Sideshow Bob, man. So yeah, I've seen a lot of this stuff happening with these moist ass individuals that they've been bringing up. So the Femogyny is actually a more correct term, because you see they don't care about women either. They treat men messed up and they treat women foul. They claim they want all of this progression for women, but then in all of the shows that you see, all they do is have women tearing down men, beating up men. How could you get anybody to respect you? You look at that and you actually dislike the images. When I see these shows, I don't even want to watch them, because I'm tired of seeing how they portray people in there. Skinny little toothpick women knocking men out with one punch. And it's supposed to be serious shows. There were shows like this show called Condor. It's supposed to be this spy show, and they have this little thin chick. She body checks this dude. He's running at top speed. He's twice her size, and she comes out of nowhere, throws the shoulder into him, knocks him down, and she's literally half his size. So you get tired of seeing this thing. You want to support, because I don't hate any woman. I've I've watched. I love Ripley. I Sigourney Weaver, Teresa Russell in Black Widow. There's so many people that you don't hear about from back in the days, because there was a lot of movies with women in it that you don't really see anymore. Well, not the way that they're portraying them now, because the Terminator movies now are garbage. You have these unbelievable, and then talk about the unattainable body images. How could you say that you respect women and the struggle that they went through with all of the body dysmorphia, and they had to do all of the bulimia and the anorexia and all of that, but now that's all you're showing now, these extremely thin women, and with no shape at all. So what is it? Do you want, and only people that you really see who are overweight most of the time are the dark skinned women, the people of color, these POCs. I'm not saying that they don't show, because they had large women on what's that, Discovery. So yeah, but how could you say that you respect women and their struggle, but that's all you're showing again? Look at Superman. Look at Superman. He's everybody says Superman is such a great thing, but it's a good show. But I see Superman is moist as hell. He's butter soft. He's using his oil of Olay every day. He's make sure he's well moisturized. And I'm telling you, he can't make a decision on how to raise his children that have abilities because he has to discuss it with the committee first. So, and I got to get that clip. I am not a committee from Star Wars, of course. So, yeah, he has to report to Lois on everything. He can't make a move without discussing it with Lois, but she can do whatever she wants. She runs off and she does whatever she wants, whenever she wants, and without having to discuss it with him. And he's absolutely the only time you see him really jumping into action is when she calls him or if there's some real threat, like when there's somebody attacking. But mostly they've been attacking him. So, but other than that, how are you respecting women and the struggle that they've gone through if you're going to be showing these truly unattainable bodies like the woman, the Justin Bieber in Terminator Dark Fate, uh, um, Lois from this new Superman and or Lois and Superman. So she's extremely thin. It's like, geez. They always keep her in a sweater. It's like, please give that girl a burger and some fries and a thick shake, please. And it's just, and I'm not trying to shame anybody. It's just that, what are y'all trying to prove? What are you trying to prove? If that's the struggle that they just came out of, just what, 10 years ago? It wasn't that long. And then I don't know if they're still going through it because I see a lot of larger size women now, uh but that was the thing. It was all over the place. That's all you ever heard of is this bulimics and anorexics and all of this stuff. But now that's all they're showing as the new model. And it's as some kind of a punishment because the male gaze is not allowed to watch a woman with any type of figure. So if you hate men, you want to put them in dresses, you hate women, you don't care about their struggle that they've already gone through, and then you writing all of these stories that nobody wants to watch. Every time something is put on TV, it goes crash. Nothing they put on stays on long periods of time. I'm surprised people are not seeing how moisturized Superman is. People are actually doing reviews on on YouTube saying that Superman is a good story, but it's mostly about these whining, crying children. Clark Kent in Smallville was nothing like that. He had to learn his abilities. His father was stern with him. He taught him the same way he would teach any child to be responsible with a deadly something that could be possibly deadly. He was there for him at every turn, and you would figure if that's the way that his father taught him, why would you now have to defer to someone who's never experienced this before in her life, and now he has to listen to her opinions on it as if she would know better when he actually lived through it and had a father figure to guide him through it, which is his type of guideline on how to handle the situation. So it makes no sense to me. I really truly didn't understand why these things were happening and why these things go on. But that's how it is. They show that you see things, they show things, and they don't care. They don't care about how people are. They don't care about the male's opinion anymore on anything, even though it's the man who's built everything the way they know it so that they can have an opinion like this. So, but men now have to be subservient. You have to wear dresses, and this is the thing, because it's the men that, or we're going to talk about this later on, but it's the men who are being the worst at it. You know, the men who are the male feminists who are fighting against their own interests, because if you've ever seen oh man, that's not, I can't really say, but there was a cartoon, a Spider-Man show that I have the video of it, but um I was nowhere I could show it. I wasn't prepared to show it. um Hold on, maybe I could pull it up. Yeah, maybe I could pull it up. Let me see if I can find it. Find it. But anyway, and it was it was Venom. It was the Venom symbiotes had attacked Earth, right? And I think all of the Spider-Man had came in and they fought off um all of the Avengers had gotten absorbed or taken over by these symbiotes. So anyway, they had squashed Spider-Man and had found a way to, and the kids in the high school that he was going to, I forget the name, Horizon High, something like that, and they all got together and helped to fight off the symbiotes, and then freed the Avengers, and the Avengers all joined up, and they got the symbiotes off the planet, or they destroyed them or whatever, because there was a ship that was coming in, and they either destroyed it or turned it back or something. So, but either way, they got rid of the problem. So in the next episodes, it was um the guy who was his teacher, Spider-Man's, Peter Parker's teacher. He had developed the symbiote that supposedly didn't have an identity, like the Venom symbiote. So it was supposed to be this symbiote that he could control. Anybody can control when you wore it. It didn't have a mind that would take you over. You can use it freely. So somehow I forget exactly what happened, but the long story short, it wound up being that it took over his teacher, and he built some kind of a gateway, a portal to a symbiote world, and he turned into Venom, the original Venom, and opened up this gateway and let these female symbiotes through. And so he started making they had the upper hand, and they started talking about how they was going to conquer everything. And the first thing that they did, hold on, let me I'm talking and not looking it up, but the first thing that he did, watch later, was he let them in and started making suggestions on what they could do, and they beat him down and stepped on his neck and told him, "We don't take no orders from you." So this is basically what any male in the SJW ruled world. If you're an SJW male, you are subservient. You are going to get a foot on the neck. I don't see it. I thought I saved it in the watch laters, but it's not here. So yeah, So I was just thinking, how could you're fighting against your own interest? If you're a man now, so you still have a chance. No matter how moist you are, no matter how much oil overlay you spread on, no matter how many humidifiers you got going on in your house, you still have a chance to turn some of that shit off and grab your sack, pull your stuff up, and be able to still be, express yourself as a man. So to become a subservient and so moisturized that you can't do anything, you're willing to have a foot on your neck is ridiculous to me. I don't understand that, and that's why I say these SJW males today, they're not only they claim to want to help the female agenda. Okay, there's ways to do that without fighting against your own gender. You're actually fighting against yourself, because no matter what you do, you're enslaving yourself. Whatever you do to the so-called patriarchy, you're doing to you, because you are part of the patriarchy. No matter what you say, you are part of the patriarchy. They look at you as the same way. You try to give an opinion, you get trashed. Uh, Venom. So that's the way it is, and that's why I don't understand how any of them. I understand what females are trying to do. They're trying to gain power for things that they don't really, for a lot of things that I'm not saying that their education and their jobs or nothing, but they want power, much like in Marvel, these writing stories and movie making, these writing positions and all of these leadership positions, whether they deserved it before they got the job, after they got the job, the only thing that they're proving is that if women ran the world, they would make it fail. The world would implode. That's what, if you watch what's going on with Disney and Warner Brothers and Marvel and any in the Doctor Who, you go down the list. Wonder Woman, you go all the way down. The stark differences from one movie, Wonder Woman, to the next. 40 84 or whatever it was, which I watched. Oh my god, that was a horrible movie. Horrible on all levels. It was boring. It was just like what I say about the now, even though the Snyder cut was way better than, if you have to compare those two movies, Wonder Woman 84 and the Snyder cut, is far better than Wonder Woman 84. But the Snyder cut, just like the original movie, was more, especially more so with the Snyder cut, morbid. That's all I could think. It was morbid. Death, that's all you felt. Morbid somberness all through the movie. There was no excitement, no cheer, no real exuberance for, there would be always be some type of cheer moments, some uplifting moments, and I never felt anything like that. Everything felt morbid, on the verge of death. And that's how I feel about it. So yeah, women, I want to know one thing, are there any properties that women have created, properties, anything that are major that the world knows about, besides, well, not besides Harry Potter, including, because Harry Potter did its thing. The woman is a billionaire because of it. So Harry Potter did its thing. So, but what other things? Because men have created many things. Okay, we've had a head start and all of that, but there's what things, you look through so many things. So we can move on to this next thing. Oh no, I haven't finished the first thing. They hate men, they hate women, and they hate children. But let's first finish with welcomes his sisters. Welcomes his sisters. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. Let's see if we can find the one where he gets his boot on his neck. Venom sister. Uh, Venom stepped on by sister. So you have a twin sister. Obi-Wan's failure is now complete. If you will not turn to the dark side of the Force, then perhaps she will. Ah! Okay, enough of that. Enough of that craziness, right? uh, yeah. There. Great. Let me find this. By sister. Is that it? Nope. It's not in here. I thought I saw it on. I must have recorded it off the TV. Yeah, it's not in here. It's not in here. But anyway, uh, so they hate children. Uh, they hate men. We see what they're trying to do to men. They want to take over. They want to. That's the thing that bothers me the most about it. They don't want to just take over and be women. They want to be men. You see at every step that in order they identify, because this is all identity politics. They want to identify as men and force men into women, and literally as if that they can just change who they are because they say so. If it wasn't for sperm banks, if men was to not put out sperm banks at all, how many women wouldn't be able to have babies? If they just did that, it would probably be a major blow. If all men said no more, no, if every strong man kept his seed himself, where would we, because then she would only get moisturized. These moisturized weak men that say, I'll take care of you. Super. Captain Saberhole and jump into the rescue and with his cape on. So yeah, what I just don't understand what it is that people think that is they're doing. So they hate men, they hate women, and they hate children. They're targeting children because they realize they can't. SJWs target children because they realize they're not going to get any real changes dealing with adults. So they're targeting children because they know they can influence them. That's why they're doing all these things about uh, forcing things in on children at school. That's why I don't believe in this critical race theory. I'm a black man, but I don't believe in that. I don't want anybody teaching a white child how to dislike or hate themselves or question who they are because of what somebody did thousands of years ago, yesterday. It doesn't matter. They could be, there's been racism. We've been dealing with racism. But you think by getting a child to hate himself or hate his race, that's basically what I feel that they was doing to us when I was coming up. Because everything about black, even now, you hear people talk about black, they always use it in a dark term unless they're creating a superhero. Then they want to create a quick. You see a lot of them. They throw their superheroes in black. They put black in their name, but a black man can't do that. A black superhero can't do that because it's redundant. Why? It's the same purpose that it serves to make a white character badass is the same purpose that it serves for a black character. So don't try to use, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're SJW or you're not. I don't care who you are. You try to withhold or restrain my creativity as an artist, I'm going to take umbrage because I understand what black means. I understand that. I understand what they tried to make it mean when I was a child and before then. Everything black was dirty, bad, so that you're supposed to identify with that. But then when the 70s, the 60s came, the 40s, the 50s, and rock and roll, we brought that in. Black people. And then white people said, jumped on the bandwagon, and they didn't put black people on the faces of the album covers. So white people didn't know who they was listening to until they started seeing them on TV. And then by that time, they loved the music. But by that time, you had all of these other white groups coming in, emulating the things that black people brought out. And then before you know it, rock and roll became something that white people was doing, and black people was kindly swept over to rhythm and blues. Or something like that. That's how we get. And it's happening again with hip hop. You see all of the bad beats and all of the garbage music is thrown all over hip hop, and then all of that good shit that made hip hop what it was back in the 90s is slid over to white music now. So uh, y'all wanna that's black people fault. I'm blaming black people for that, but we're gonna talk about that at on another stream because I have a whole idea about that. So the second ideas I have is women have no power without men, especially moist men who are willing to, but no matter what, it's men. If men are not there to stand up for them, what are they going to do? They're not going to wage war against you. And who's going to listen? If all men said nah, then what? Then what? So what like I said, what do you create? What is it that you bring to the table? Like you said, like, I'm not trying to sound like Kevin Samuels because I'm nowhere near that type of topic. I'm talking about what do you create? Men create, women take, and that's what you see most of the time. Men are the creators. Women are they basically take the resources and use it to raise the children. That's how it, not conventionally has come through, you know, and that's no matter what you look at is man. Who do you think was the first person to look into the inside of a body and wonder what those things did? It was man. It was a hunter, most likely. A hunter was probably the first person who wanted to be a doctor. A hunter, someone who's always cutting into bodies and seeing what organs look like. and wondering what these things begin. Hey, I wonder what this does. You know what they knew what the stomach and the intestines, because you cut it open and they see animals inside. Because I see that on Naked and Afraid. They cut open a snake and they find another snake inside of it. So that's the first doctor. That's before ancient Egypt, before all of that. Before ancient Egypt was a foot itching in its daddy's pants. Before ancient Egypt was a thought in anybody's mind, there were hunters, and they were the first to cut into a body and wonder, hey, if we had the same organs inside, because they killed how many different animals and see that it all have the same organs inside. So two and two had to come together to make four. And somebody says, hey, so, but what, where will I now? I'm not saying that women have not contributed. No, that's not what I'm saying. No, I'm just saying in today's world, because they always keep saying, you always hear these feminists say, we don't need men in the way that we needed them back then. But you know how easily our world can revert to that? All does it take is a week or two without electricity, period. That's it. A week or two without electricity, and you see just how much. You've seen it during Corona. You've seen it during the illy ill. So what do you, how, if women cannot possibly have power without men, it just will not happen. It just does not happen. So I'm saying, oh, and I did say I was supposed to talk about how they hate children, right? let's 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 just see. Let's just see. Let's just see. Let's share this. I'm not really necessarily interested in um reading the story, because people already know about it. Nickelodeon's rating crash during celebration of Pride Month with special videos. Now, the whole idea that Nickelodeon would show these things to children and try to make children understand these things. We're talking very young children. I have nothing against about, like I said, anyone. You could live your life, do you? It doesn't mean that I have to, and I have to live that way. And the other thing I don't understand is, why do I have to understand? But that's not the topic we're talking about. We're talking about they hate children. They hate children because, in my opinion, if I've heard many reports, plenty of times, of individuals in the alphabet society that say that they were confused about who they were. They grew up confused, feeling this way, that way about who they were, and it made them sometimes come to hostile thoughts against their own beings, right? So if these thoughts, and a lot of them suffered from these types of thoughts because of the thoughts that they grew up with, why would you then want to subject a child to those same thoughts? If a normal or a regular child's growing up in his family, having no worries in the world, but now you want to indoctrinate them into this way of living, basically confusing who they are, bringing them into this state of confusion, trying to bring them into this state of confusion. That's why I say, how could you not hate that child? Y'all talk about how men have an opinion is misogynistic. Well, I believe that this is femogyny. This is femogyny. Hatred of everyone. You don't care about men, you don't care about women, and you don't care about children. As long as you could prove your point or get your point across, it, it, I've never seen any other movement that does this. I've never seen it. Never seen any other movement that literally forces it down children. I never grew up with when I was I grew up in fourth grade in the 60s, early 70s, early 70s. How could you I just don't understand that. And nobody taught anything like that. They didn't teach you sex education. They didn't teach you anything like that. They taught you how to be this type of person, teach you how to read, write, math, and because I was raised in a Catholic school, um, I of course they taught you how to be good people. They want you to be good, so that you had to learn certain things about religious beliefs, which mostly is being good, not treating your neighbor badly. So if you have these thoughts about what's good, right, and how to treat someone else, why would you subject any child, a grown up? They have their own thoughts. Once you get to be a teenager, you begin to have your own thoughts. So teenage programming, okay, I can understand, even though I wouldn't even want my teenager being subjected to that garbage. And well, you know what I'm saying. I wouldn't want them learning anything that's not necessary, because I don't want my teenager thinking about sexual acts anyway. Of course, they're going to be talking about that on their own. I don't need that in their programming, especially young teenagers. I'm not even talking about young teenagers. We're talking about Nickelodeon here. So, how could you love children if you're trying to time and time again sneak it through past parents at school, sneak it in their programming and cartoons? You're trying to sneak things in where, because they know parents today do not necessarily watch everything that their children watch. People have been doing it for years. Shoot, I was a latchkey kid. I was a latchkey kid, man. Me and my sister, we walked home from school. We had our own key, and this was fourth, fifth, sixth grade, man. Walked home by ourselves. We made lunch. We came home. We made cornflakes or peanut butter and jelly. We we probably ate like 4 times a day, because we would get oatmeal or some kind of hot cereal in the morning, and then we get a bag lunch to take to school, and then we come home, and if we wanted something to snack on, we could eat cornflakes or peanut butter and jelly or something like that, and then we'd eat dinner when moms and dads got home. But first our older brother would get there, and then moms and dad later on. But so how I just don't understand. And we didn't worry about the children so much. I played on concrete blocks when I was a little kid, 7 years old. We used to get cut up playing, running and jumping and diving in. I used to get cut up, big gashes in my flesh, and then I would, okay, I'll be right back. Run across the street, run across the street, go inside the house, get to the door, start crying, get sympathy from my mom. She throw some mercurochrome or some iodine on it, pat me on my booty, and I was back out in the street playing. That was it. It was tougher than that. I only wanted the sympathy, but I was I was a little bit soft when I was a kid. I would cry quick, you know. Uh, I knew I was getting in trouble. I was gonna get a whooping. I'd start with the tears real quick, man. So, but my pops taught me how to be tough, man. I got my first time my father grabbed me up by my hand. I had some kid pick on me. That's what I don't understand about this bullying crap. We didn't call it bullying. You got picked on. You got these kid picked on me. Came home crying. I think he hit me. Came home crying. I was about six. I had to be about 5 or 6 because I moved around 7 or 8. So had to be about 6, right? It's 5, 6, somewhere around in there. Came home and then I remember fights after that. So because I was to terrorize people after that, but it was because they started it. But there was a rule on how to fight. I couldn't hit them first, but so this kid hit me. I came home crying. My father's about 5 foot tall, man, and walked with a serious limp. And he grabbed me by my hand. He said, "Stop crying. Come on, let's go. I want you to take me out there and show me who hit you." We got down the block. He said, "Show me." He bent down. He said, "Show me who." He said, "Show me who it is." And I pointed to the kid. He bent on. He put his face in my face, and he said, "I want you to go over there and beat that boy's behind. And if you don't, I'm gonna beat yours." I turned to that kid, went over there, and rained punches on him. He said, "That's enough." I got up. We went back home. That was it. After that, I never really had. Of course, I got picked on, but I knew what to do. I knew what to do, and the people left me alone after that. I got picked on all my life. For some reason or another, there was always some kid, and because of the stuff that when I turned 13, things changed with me. So people noticed the change about me, or that I was different than they were, and I would get picked on for that. But I learned how to crack jokes, so I couldn't fight about everything. So I learned how to crack jokes, to play in the dozens, we called it. I'm thinking about starting a show called Dozens and just inviting people on to crack jokes on each other. so yeah. So yeah, women want power. They want everything, but how could they possibly have power without men? So we moving back from the children. We know that they hate children. So that being said, that finishes off that whole part with the Femogyny part, because that's really what Femogyny is about. It's how they hate everybody, and if you don't side with them, you getting thrown under the bus that they riding in. So now it's this whole thing about women with power. I don't mind them being in charge of anything. I don't understand why, and I don't understand that it's not just with women. It's with any other nationality, race, gender, or whatever. How come you can't start your own business, come together, stick together as a group? Because to me, uh, the reason why black folks don't really get where we should be is because we don't stick together. We should have banks in our neighborhoods. We should have all kinds of our own businesses so that our children could go work after school. We should have uh all of the things that we ask for somebody else to provide. Like, why aren't these major people with these big time black SARS, instead of building schools, which is basically teaching the same propaganda and brainwashing things that any other school is doing, indoctrinations that any other schools are teaching, uh, instead of helping to put, but we're going to make another video about that too, but helping to build the neighborhoods. And it's easy. Help build out the black neighborhoods, and you can start with one neighborhood at a time instead of building schools. I'm telling you, because schools ain't helping nobody if you don't have no place to work once you get out of it. So, or you don't know what to do with the schooling once you get out of it. Come on, everybody can't work in the same fields. There's a limited amount of fields. I'm gonna do another power stream probably this week, man, talking about uh it's gonna be all about the New World Order and this whole garbage about the flip or the switch or the how we should the reset. Yeah, the reset. I know all about how we should reset. We just get rid of money. That's it. But we're gonna talk about all of that. And people are gonna say I'm crazy. But oh, you just listen to what I have to say. I started it on one of my story time streams because that's all it's about. I'm not trying to overthrow nothing. I'm just saying that is another way that things people say, how can we change it? How can we do this? How can we do that? Just I got ideas on video games too, so that's coming too down the line. We got plenty of topics. I'm gonna try and organize my thoughts so that I have everything broken down so that I can also do this, make videos, and then also make my comic books because that's why I'm doing this. You see that little label up there in the corner, Might the graphic novel. I'm drawing, and that's why I stopped making videos because it's just a lot of work because I got to write a lot of characters and a lot of stories and a lot of everything. So anyway, we don't want to get distracted. We're gonna do that at the end. We're gonna go to CG Tracker, and we're gonna look at a couple of campaigns and see how they're doing. I want to start putting my oar in the water and help paddle. I got to build my channel so that I can build an audience for Mike because this is basically why I'm here. But I do have opinions, and some of my opinions will be like impetus for or motivation for some of my bad guys. You see, a lot of guys like Magneto. He's he's kind of a bad guy, but he's like a misunderstood bad guy. He just really wants to help mutant kind. So that's what I want to do too. I got like eco terrorists and stuff like that, like in the Bounty Hunters on Goddamn the Comics channel. So these guys eco warriors, but they're terrorists. So they're trying to fight against things that they feel is bad, and but they're trying to do it in the name of goodness. So yeah, we don't want we gonna we're gonna save that for oh what the heck was that? Hello, yeah, I'm back. I hit a switch I hit my mouse by accident. I hope I didn't get bumped out and everything stayed live. I'm not sure. I was back in the control room or whatever. So anyway, women who want power, I don't mind them having power. It's just that if you're not gonna use, if you're gonna show everybody that once you get it, that you're gonna use it to basically put your foot on every man's neck, why would anybody give you that power? Because people don't get power by taking it. It's basically the best way to do it is by getting people to give it to you. Like all the politicians, all these corporations, we give them our power. All we have to do is take it back anytime we want to. All we have to do is know. I told people before, I'm going to do another video about power. It's about knowledge, strength, will, and wisdom. Knowledge, strength, will, and wisdom. So if you have knowledge of yourself, every part of yourself, nobody can influence you, nobody can break you. If they talk bad about you, you already know the bad things about yourself. How could you possibly give two shits? Right? Say what you want. That's what I believe is my strength. I know who I am. Nobody can tell me that. When people I argue with people, they want to try to put me down for how I am. Go, I don't care. You can say what you want. But have I ever treated you foully? Have I ever stole from you? No. You can't say anything like that from about me. So you have no argument. You could talk about my opinions, you could talk about how I speak, but I'm always trying to be there for people and I've always tried to do the right thing. That's my and you know what I've been gotten told for that? Everybody can't be perfect like you. What? Because I try to do the right thing means that I'm trying to be perfect? Isn't that what people want? But they don't want people to do the right thing. They want people to do what treat them the way they want to be treated. And that's not how it is. People don't treat you the way you want to be treated. People act the way they act. You just have to demand they don't treat you poorly. That's what you can ask. You can't demand. You can't. This is one thing I've always known. You can't control how people treat you, but you can control yourself and how you act and how you treat others and what you demand from others. If somebody treats you poorly and uh they won't cease the poor behavior, you either take it to that next level if you want to have odds with, because that's how it was. At my age, no, I can't suggest throwing bows and knuckling up and swelling up and taking in all that air. I can't suggest showing them paws and all of that. But that's the natural progression. If that's why women can get away with talking a lot of crap and talking about how they're going to talk to people and hit men, and this is ridiculous because for me, a woman hit me. If she wants to step into a man's shoes, I would be happy to knock her out of them. That's my opinion. I've never had. When I was a kid, this girl kicked me in the ass, but she kicked me in the ass. I wasn't looking at it. I just felt this sharp pain, and I spun around punching. I when I took off running, and when I turned, I was just a little kid. And I turned around, this little girl was laying on her ass in the middle of the schoolyard. I didn't know, but I was always taught that if anybody wants to step up into a man's position, they can be treated as a man. I've told women that all my life. I never had to put my hands on a woman. I don't believe in putting on my hands on no woman. But I, I don't believe in having no woman putting their hands on me either. I do not believe in that wholeheartedly. So if you do not want no paws, if you do not want these bows, keep your paws to yourself. That goes for anyone, but it's more understood man to man that that's more of a possibility. See, women think, and the world says, oh, even men will say, even men will tell me right here and now, oh, you wrong. Bump that. I guarantee a woman see me pop a in the mouth, and I'm not suggesting that anybody do this. I'm talking about after I was assaulted, and I would gladly get cuffed and spend my time to have the right to defend myself from NT1. NT1. I remember as a teenager, a little kid, a young teenager, 12, 13, 14, young girl, maybe 8, 9 years old, spit on me right in the face. Just a smack. She ran inside, told her moms. I stood there to take the punishment. And she screamed at me, but I said, yo, my father told me, yeah, I don't care who they are. They big enough to hit you. They big enough to get hit back. Same thing with that. And I've never stood back from somebody smaller than me, taller than me. I've always stood my ground. I stand your ground, Lord. So, so I've always stood my ground. If you don't want none, you got to bring ass to get ass. So if you don't want none, don't start none. That's so I and that's what I'm saying. Women can't have no power unless men take that back seat. Men have to step back, take that back seat. And I watched Naked and Afraid last weekend, and they had this man after the XL uh episode. They had a shorter one where it was fans of the show were able to kind of go on a 14-day instead of the 21-day adventure. So the woman went out there. She was a jogger and everything, and this dude, and she never been out in the wild before. And this guy, he went out there. He said he did camping all his young life and all of this, and he knew it. He's very knowledgeable about everything. He got out there. They got naked, went out into the bush, and guess what happens? He immediately starts crying. Oh, the ground's so hot. The mosquitoes are biting me. I can't sleep. I can't do this. I can't. Oh. I'm talking about long, bawling tears, man. Long, and he has a child and a wife at home. And you got them on national TV, watch you bawling and crying, and then you finally leave on day 2 or 3 or something like that. And the woman stays for the duration by herself. The woman stays. Never been out there. And this dude had all the knowledge. I just couldn't understand it. I couldn't understand it. So unless the man would never been like that. You think there was one man back in the 1920s that was like that? The 1900s, the 1800s, that couldn't fend for himself in some way or another. There, of course, I'm sure there was some on some level, but to the degree where they burst into tears. I want to go home. I want to go home. I want to go home. I'm dead ass serious. I never seen no crap like that. Grown ass, gray hair. Gray hair. I've cried before. I've cried before in front of people. But only thing you heard, you wouldn't hear shit from me. I wouldn't hide my face. I wouldn't wipe no tears. I would just sit there and cry. I have a mean mug on, and I would cry. Just let the tears flow. But I'm not gonna be bawling and crying and oh, come on, man. Nah, I think the only time I ever did that was when my parents died. My father died. My mother died. It was a little bit different because it was more of like a release because she had kind of already gone a month before. Her mind was like already gone. And so, but yeah. So I had to put her in a hospice. And, so anyway. So when she went the next month, it was like the next month she was gone. She was in the hospice and she had the NDR, do not resuscitate, or DNR, do not resuscitate. So we couldn't put any breathing tubes, feeding tubes, anything like that. So the worst thing about it is knowing that she most likely starved to death, something like that, because of not really eating or getting anything like that. So. And they couldn't put any feeding tubes because basically it would just prolong her suffering, and she might have caught a feeding tube. Usually causes pneumonia, and then she'll die from the pneumonia. So it would have been more suffering. So, but it's hard to know that that's what happened. But anyway, that's the only time I cried. And when I came in there and I know that she was gone, and I cried then. But my father, I was like uncontrollably. Even after the funeral, I just couldn't stop. I'd be out hanging out with my friends, and the tears would just start raining down. because that was the first time I had lost anybody really important to me. But I just couldn't. I just don't understand being that moist in this world today. I don't care what you talk about. There's always need for strength in manhood. There's always need for that. So, uh, women and power. I don't see how it's gonna happen. And like I said, the only way, because of the institutions that men put in place, men built. That's the only reason. You look at whatever you talk about that women have, it's because of a man. The birth control pill is probably a man, right? Uh, the freedom that they crave so much today is probably because of a man. Birth control, all of these uh things that any type of birth control that you use, vehicles, cars, their freedom, the jobs, the schools that they learn in, um, uh, probably even the fields that they go into is created by men. I really don't see how could you then want to just take over, but you don't want to do the dirty work. You're not trying to get in the street and dig holes and dig in sewers and deal with any of the dirty work. The oil refineries, the drilling mines, the coal mines, the anything that's high value pay, but high value threat to life, danger to life. I have a friend that I sometimes play with online who kind of got caught in a collapse in the mine, and that shit ain't no joke, man. That shit ain't no joke. I don't want to tell his business because he ain't give me permission to, but that shit ain't no joke. So, uh, yeah, man, you don't see no women down there. And even if they were to, right? Even if they were to, it would just make the job more expensive because they can't lift what the man can. So it would take twice the amount of time for them to push the amount of weight that a man could. In architecture and construction, it would be the same thing. Buildings would go, the cost would go up because women crew would take twice the time, and you wouldn't be sure that the fittings and all of the things are as well secured as if a man put his back into it. You know, you can't really be assured. And I don't know everything about construction, so of course, all of the tools used will make it a lot easier, such as cement trucks built by men, uh, cement mixers and rebars and all of these things built by men. Uh, Architecture and all of that stuff like that originally built by men. The mathematics behind that, to build those buildings and to come up with all the pressure uh, strengths in order to know how much a certain amount of stone could take, or how much of a building, all of that, tons and tons of weight on top of in one spot can be sustained uh, without and making it flexible enough to blow in the wind without collapsing. This is all mathematics and physics and all of that created by men, observed and studied by men. Uh, Now, of course, you could say that man's world, he did that, but there's reasons, because at that time when men were doing these things, women had their purposes. They had their own things that they was responsible for, like it's always been through time. But now they're not happy with just doing that. They wanna basically cut out their wounds, throw it in a man, which we've seen on TV. I've seen it in what's that show with Spader? The hit list, the blue list, the blacklist, the blacklist. The Blacklist. There was an episode where this black dude had a baby. And I'm telling you, if they could do it, they would do it. They would force men to, and there's a bunch of whipped ass, moisturized men that would gladly take a uterus and put it inside their body. Matter of fact, I believe it can be done anyway. But they said for the baby wouldn't be able to feed the same way because I believe the lining of the uterus is built for that transference of uh, nutrients. So I'm not a doctor. I'm not a physician and any type of physicist or of any type, but there's some things that's just logical. I could be wrong. So if anybody out there knows more than me, please feel free to correct me. We'll even have, especially like the Matrix doctrine and all of that. I'm gladly talk to anybody who wants to make me prove me wrong. I don't mind that. I like learning, but the Matrix doctrine, I'm not wrong. Everything is made up, and that's another thing about this whole women's thing. They fighting about a bunch of made up things. How about making up some of your own things? A bunch of made up things. Why not make up your own? I don't understand that. I'm doing it. I want my characters to be standing side by side with Superman and Batman. I think one character I have that's based, well, not based on, but I kind of had to put it like that because he's like a character he's not really a super being. He has heightened abilities, but he's not really super strong or nothing like that. And he uses gadgets to fight crime, and he's really smart and fast and agile and stuff like that. So he's like a Batman character, but I created him long ago, and I never really considered him to be Batman. It's just recently when I'm coming up with stories and trying to describe him, the best way to describe him is basically my Batman character because he doesn't come from wealth, but he gets his gadgets in a certain type of way, but he basically fights crime on a street level on the way on his up like Batman. He basically got to get in the gutter in order to deal with the higher he got to basically go through the grunt men in order to get to the bosses. So that's basically what this character is. He's like that dude who works from the ground up. So that's what I'm saying. Why don't they work together from the ground up and build their own thing? Build your own thing and then make the world see you. But that's what I'm saying. Look at look at what Spike Lee, not Spike Lee, Wesley Snipes. Look at what Wesley Snipes did with Blade. Blade is a white created character. He was created by white people, but Wesley Snipes grabbed a hold of that character and turned him into his own personal. The way he moved when he was fighting, I don't care who. This dude who's gonna be playing Blade, there's no way. He's too old. Just too old to be getting the training. So he's too old to play Blade. He just looks too old, and everything I've seen him in, he looks like he has a hard time even walking. He looked like he got something wrong with his hips. so, so I think he's the kind of geriatric. Everything's gonna be CG. He's not gonna be able to fight like, and that's what I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see. To me, he's gonna be fighting like the TV show dude when was it what's his name? Sticky Fingers was playing Blade on TV. That was garbage because they couldn't even get a stand-in like in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. They couldn't even get a stand-in to do the choreography and the fight scenes and have the face just switch in and out. But even though I understand Melissa Gilbert did know some martial arts, but it wasn't her doing the martial arts and, and a lot of that stuff. That was a badass little girl throwing them legs in there. And why couldn't they get somebody to do the standing fighting for Sticky Fingers? And that's what I think they're gonna need to do with this dude, because this dude is old. He ain't gonna be able to do no real fighting. And even if he does, like I said, he ain't gonna have the style and the pizzazz and the panache that that Wesley had. Man, he owned that character. There's no way that this dude's gonna come in and make Blade look badass the way Wesley did. So why can't you do that? Get your own character and use your blackness, your alphabetness, your your whatever you identify as, and come up with your stories and tell them. Put a badass bad guy in there and tell them, and stop trying to force your ID politics on well-known characters that everybody already cares about and don't want to see fall victim to your vampirism, because that's what y'all doing. Y'all biting something in the neck and killing it and trying to revitalize it as something totally different that's dead. Something that's already dead. This is a vampire culture. The SJ, see, that's another title. The SJW SJW media is vampiric. Is vampiric culture. Okay, so the last thing I guess I could talk about is the rise of the Moist Reich. That's right, people. The rise of the Moist Reich. I should have put this up here. I should have had this ready to go. Ready to go. Ready to go. See, I'm going to get better at this. I will be better. The rise of the Moist Reich is what we've been seeing this whole time with these, except for it's worse because the Moist Reich SJWs are not alone. See, it's just like the whole Nazi thing back in the whole Heil times. It's just like back then where the socialists took over and they turned the government against the people and the people against the people. And that's what these socialists are doing, except for they're using the government and the corporations. The corporations are the rock that these people stand on. Otherwise, they have no power either. Without the corporations, they have nothing. Oh, where is it? Without them, you think that they can do any of this stuff? You think that they would be able to keep putting on programs that are failing and keep making movies time and time again that are failing without the $billion pockets of Disney? Because not even Marvel could do this. Not even Marvel. Hold on, people. I see nothing but a bunch of power hungry people showing the world what they'll do to the world if they had power. And it's brutal. They want to rule with an iron fist, even though it's made of tin, made of aluminum foil because their fist is an iron. Not, they don't have the strength on any level. They don't have the strength mentally because their arguments suffer on their surface. They don't have the strength physically, otherwise, they would just take it instead of trying to disarm people who have no reason to be disarmed. It's the people. It's people all the time. It's not the artillery. It's people. People are the problems. People are so emotionally tied to emotions and they don't know how to speak it because that's how people communicate through emotions. It's not through talking. I talked about that in the Matrix Doctrine. Words is made up. We originally are meant to speak through emotions, and people don't know how to do that. We've been convoluting emotions with speech for so long. We don't know how to be true to our own selves. That's why I don't. I would rather be a prick and be straight up with an individual and tell them exactly how I feel about them than to play games and be shy about it and let people like okay, here's this for an example. Naked and Afraid again. These dudes in the XL, that's where they staying for 60 days in the wild. So they had like 12 groups, and then a lot of the women got uh had to tap out, and then a couple of the men tapped out. So they brought the group, some of the groups moved and they came together with other groups. So one group, Team Savage, had their stuff really set up. They building bridges over the water because they couldn't get into the water because there was some kind of nutria. That's some kind of animal out there. It looks like a mini pig, a mini guinea pig, or a giant rat, and a giant guinea pig or a giant rat. Um, and uh, and they couldn't get into the water because they crapped and they shit and piss and everything, and these a virus or worms or some type of plague that's in the water from these animals, from shitting and all of that crawls into your skin and creates these sores. And so they had to stay out of the water while it healed. So this dude was building bridges. I'm telling you, he literally just sat there and he taught everybody how to bend the sticks into place and build a bridge so that they can get to the other side so that they can hunt for these nutria and deer and all of these things. So these other guys, all they did was fish. So they brought they fishing stuff. It was two of them, and they came over to this group that was three of them. And these two dudes who only did mostly fishing came in and they started fishing. And one of the dudes liked to scream and yell every time he catches something. I liked it because he was catching these giant electric eels back in one of the other challenges. So this time he was catching catfish and these gar. They look like alligator fish. So look prehistoric. So anyway, they uh they came there, and every time he would catch a fish, he's yelling and yelling and whooping and hollering, and he's chasing away all of the hunted, the nutria and the deer. And that's how this other dude, he's famous for out there with his bow and arrow catching stuff, right? So he's out there, got his arrow beaten down the shaft at a deer, and yo, woo, 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 we got one. And the deer goes running off, and he's like, damn. I don't know if that's exactly how it happened, but it looked like it. That's how they set it up. So that's what it looked like. But you know that they're chasing away. You can't go out there yelling and hollering all of the time when you chasing away all of the game. So instead of just go up and talk to the man, they have to say nothing. And then they build tension, building tension, building tension. Then they want to start arguing and all of this. It's stupid. It's stupid. That's what I say. I don't play those games, homie. If I got some problem with you, I'm gonna voice my opinion immediately. I'm gonna be as nice as I can be the first time. Yo, man, yo. No, I'm not trying to do nothing wrong, but yo, this is kind of like aggravating in some kind of. I'm gonna try to be diplomatic as possible. But then you keep it up, it's gonna be like, yo, buddy, I talked to you already. You know, and then after that, gotta go to Bose. Gotta throw them bows. Yeah, gotta throw some bows. Yeah. So yeah, man. I don't believe in playing those games. So, and people on the SJW side, that's all they do. They lie, they make up stories, and then they got other people, the media, to back up the story. So they got the media and all of these things working hand in hand to bolster these lies and propaganda in order to subjugate half of the populace of the United States. Because that's what it is. It's slavery. It's force-fed slavery, because that's what it is. If you trying to force somebody into doing something, it's slavery. It's slavery, because that's the only way you're gonna do it. Because I know I won't just bow down for nobody. And not only that, there's a saying. I'm gonna go with the devil that I know, because that other devil I don't know, what kind of hell is he gonna take me to? You know, the devil I know, I already been to the hell that he put me in. I'm not gonna let some other devil take me to some other hell to be tortured in. So yeah, nah, buddy, I think I'll pass on that. So so yeah, it's for yeah. I guess that's all I got right now. I'm just saying we got to watch the rise of the Moist Reich, because being soft is dangerous. If there's a certain amount of people that's soft, that's going to happen in every society. It's just how it is. Some people fall through the cracks. It happens in a while. Some fall victim to the predators, and there's predators in society. You can't get rid of it. You can't get rid of it. It's not possible. Just like you can't get rid of pollution the way that they're talking about. You can't get rid of this greenhouse thing by getting rid of meat. You can't. If you still cutting down the trees, that's actually cleaning the air. How do you get rid of meat and say that you fighting greenhouse gases? No, that's not fighting greenhouse gases. You know what you got to get rid of? People. People are the problem. And I'm not saying you should have let the virus do its thing. That's what you should have did. You should have let the virus do its thing, because they would have been even-handed. No matter if black people are fatter and more out of shape, and that's the reason you will get sick and die more than other people, then your ass shouldn't be out of shape, right? You should be prepared for the bad things of life. You should be prepared for the apocalypse. That's what you should do. So that's what I say about everybody, all you dumplings out there, and you people who are whiny, crying baby boys and little baby girls. Yeah, try pulling up your big girl panty drawers and your big boy panty drawers, and just pick your sack up off the ground and try being strong, showing some fortitude, because this stuff does not work that way. Society is cannot weed, and no matter how many laws you make, only thing that you're doing is making laws against your freedom. The more laws you make, the less freedom you have. It's not a society. Laws, you continue making laws, and you don't know none of them, but the cops know, and you getting arrested for shit you don't even have a clue about, like making laws against people because they lied to their date. They lied to their date in order to get the panty drawers. So that becomes non-consent. Basically, it becomes a hostile, nasty assault against that individual, and you can then be prosecuted. What type of bull crap is that? Where the government is now in your bedroom. What? Your government, your America's women are married to the government. That's what SJWs are. Married to the government. That's the movie. You heard of Married to the Mob? Boom. Booyah shaka. So I talked a little bit too long. It was only supposed to go 2 hours. I should have gotten to this topic quicker. I was a little bit all over the place. I'm going to start regimenting that, because I'm going to start doing what I seen a couple of other streamers do. Tell you the truth, I seen my boy Young Ripper. I see how he does his live stream. He does live streams. He hits his segments, and he does enough on the segment to get his sound bite for his videos, and then he clips the video out the live stream, and puts his video up to please the, what's it called, to please ah the program that runs the MNF and YouTube algorithm. There it is. To please the algorithm. So we're gonna call it Al. We're gonna please Al. They're gonna please Al by putting up the damn video. So that's what he does, and makes it far easier for me than me making videos, editing them, putting them up. It's easier to just clip them suckers and throw them up with a. Then all I have to do is make a thumbnail. So yeah, let's head over here to CG Trucker. Yowza. I want to boogie with you. Because this is all about. Let's do it over here. Entire screen. Yeah, buddy. Okay, let's go over here. CG Tracker. CG Tracker tracks all CG. Well, not. I don't know if it tracks all CG books, because I don't know if all people have declared being CG who are CG to CG Tracker, so that they know to put them on CG Tracker. See, so it looks like they got pretty much a lot of these guys in here. Ooh, this is pretty extensive, man. Ooh, CG Tracker, you are doing your thing. There's a lot of names in this bitch. Man, I hope I don't wind up down here. Daggone it. I know I am, because I don't have any real followers right now. And I know that's how I'm gonna need to get people that come in here and actually want to know about might and the might universe, the mightyverse. That's right. You heard it first here, people. The Mighty Verse. Trademark. Trademark copyright, like that. That's we're gonna have the Mighty Verse. Yeah, but we got some, what's this, Vestry? He's not doing too good. I don't know how long they've been. 2 days to go. Oh yeah, and this one's doing pretty bad, man. Let's try and find something that's doing pretty good, man. At least 10 to 20,000. Shadow Hunters. I don't know any of these guys down here. Slaughter Squad, Black Manor. Nah, let's try the Cobalt. Cobalt, I heard of Cobalt. I thought it was doing better than that. Tilt. See, some of these, I don't know all of them. I'm not pointing any fingers, but I know that some of these don't have good art and or good enough art. I wouldn't buy them because that's how I buy. I'm not saying I don't know which ones. Any of the names that I mentioned, I'm not pointing any fingers. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I know that there are some in here. There are some in here with great art that are not selling. I don't know if they're not promoting it the way that they're supposed to or what. But I know I know for sure that they're not getting the prices they're going to want to be getting. So I want to hope. I'm hoping to get. I know it's totally up to you guys out there, but I'm hoping to get somewhere near 15, 10, 15, at least that around that area, 10, 15, 20. I know again. I know that I have to put in more work, but I'm going to be coming out soon with my campaign. It doesn't make sense for me to wait a year. It's going to still take the same year, no matter what. Whether I put it out now and work towards it, or put it out then and say, okay, you're going to get it now. You can get it in a month from now or 2 months from now. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. I still got to draw and finish writing and putting everything together. Johnny Phantasm. Okay, see, so these are names that I know. Pandemic. See, this is where I want to be. Shadow of the Kraken. These are the numbers that I want to be at. So we know Shadow of the Kraken, Sunsworn, U.S. Assassins. These are all names that I know. Rocket Gal. I haven't heard of that. And the Moon Men. Lumina Vox, I heard of this. Star Circuit. Yeah, see Star Circuit. Yeah, we heard of these. We seen them on we seen them on Red Valkyrie. We seen them on Vinny Art. We seen them on all of the shows. We seen them on John Malin. Yeah, we seen them. So go over there. Come to CG Tracker. Take a look through all of these campaigns. Maybe you might see something you like. Here's something that looks good. I know that the Star Circuit has good art in it, but I'm not too sure if it's the type of stories that I'm. That's more like an anime type storytelling, and I'd rather see. When it comes to anime, I like to see the moving action in movies and animation, in movies and cartoons. I'd rather see the animation moving than see than worry about looking through pages. Even though I've seen some of the anime manga, the manga stuff, some of that art is spectacular. I'm not taking anything away from. Yo, this has got some good art. Has some good. I don't know if this is just the front page, but this stuff looks pretty good. Who's the artist? Marcus de Gesu. Marcus De De Jess De Jessu De Gessu De Jessu Digesu. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, but you should put a pronunciation up there or something. Let me see. Victorian covers. It's pretty good. Pretty good art. Pretty damn good art. Whose art did this? Nero exclusive cover. Red Blood edition. See, I'm not gonna do all of that. I'm not gonna have multiple. I'm not trying to say nothing bad. Again, it's just I'm thinking out loud. I don't want to have that type of cover variance. I'm only gonna have two covers. I'm gonna have my Dark Entities cover with all of the bad guys on it. It's gonna be a wraparound. The the main three boss bad guys are gonna be on the front, and the 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 backup bad guys, the ones that's actually doing most of the fighting and causing all of the headaches throughout the story, leading up to the bosses. Those guys are gonna be on the back. It's probably gonna be around 12 or so, maybe some more thrown in here and there. It's gonna be around 12 to 15 on the back and 3 on the front. The arms dealer, his boss, and the dude that I call my Apocalypse. He's not Apocalypse in any kind of way. He doesn't have the powers that Apocalypse has, not the motivations that Apocalypse has. Nothing about him is the same as Apocalypse. But I just refer to him because I wanted to make a badass. Apocalypse is my favorite mutant. Wolverine was my favorite. Even Cyclops at one point was my favorite, but he was too goody two shoes. But then it became Wolverine, and I still love Wolverine to death. But Apocalypse is the shit, man. I love Apocalypse, man. I like Apocalypse, man. I like his power set. I like how he uses his armor and those augmented gadgets and machineries and weapons and defensive weapons and guns and all of that he creates. I love all of that stuff. See, I couldn't do all of that because it would be a direct giveaway that's my Apocalypse. I couldn't do that, so I have to find other ways to do it. So yeah, I'm gonna have a T-shirt with my logo across the front. Yeah, one naked with just the naked logo, and one with Might on it, and then maybe have a splash page on another one. Yeah, this is some good art, man. I like the armor, pretty damn good. Exclusive Prince Kalos. I think it's all by the same artist, but isn't I haven't seen. I guess I have to read every little thing. I figured they would put it right there. I wonder if he's the dude that did everything. And thanks to the fans, printing do 16,000. Use a shirt. I want to have shirts. Uh, See, all of these things is making it harder for me. My first time doing it, having to get to learn how to do all of these things and handle everything. Make sure I get my books out and be thinking of my customers at every turn. Let me see. Bling, bling, bling. This is the overview. Boom, 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 boom. Nero's first mission. Yeah, it doesn't say who the artist is. Praetorian cover. I'm just assuming that he's the artist, the writer, the colorist, and everything because I don't see where there's a specific spot that says that. But let me see. I'm only gonna stop through a couple of. I'll do one more after this. Volume one begins. The Republic of Etora, Etora, Edora, Edora, Etora, Etora. Eh, I don't like the name. uh, down to the halls of Praetorian Academy is at the heart of the Justice City, where we find a hero Nero, a prideful young cadet, and his trained life, all his life, and is on his way, verge, becoming a member of the legendary Praetorian. Like he should have been Praetorian Guard or something. But no, okay, it's not my story. It's not my story, so I should just the fuck up. Really, I shouldn't be disparaging somebody else's work at all, unless I see something glaring. Nah, but he's a creator. I shouldn't be let the customers decide whether it's good enough or not to speak on. It's not for me. I'm a creator. I don't want another creator talking bad about my shit unless it's really bad. If it's really bad, yeah, just crush it. Just crush it. But if you see I'm trying to do my best and I'm getting better, I'm gonna be getting better and stuff like that. My first attempt, and you see it, give me allowance for the time to grow. Okay, then give me a little time to grow. Give me a little leeway. But if you see flaws with it, come to me, leave me and drop me a message in my DM or something like that, or send it to Indigenous Monstrosity at Gmail or something like that, and leave me a little message to say, okay, man, I see something. This is wrong. I don't like this. You're gonna have to do that better. Something like that, and that way you won't be destroying my campaign to possible uh customers, and I can make corrections. This is why I don't want to disparage anybody else's campaign. It's like if you see something bad, keep your mouth shut. You have nothing good to say, you say nothing at all. Yeah, that's why I came in here and I said I seen some good art in here, so I had something good to say. So I came in and I said it. Otherwise, I'm not gonna say nothing bad. And yeah, so go check out Justice City Chronicles. Maybe you might like that. And let's go back to CG Tracker, Six Gun Gorilla. We already know that that's some good art. And Thomas Meyer, that's supposed to be some really good stuff. I never took a look at that campaign. I've seen it on a couple of, I think, skits. We seen that in '94. We know that's been on Ethan. Ethan's done Thomas Meyer, Iron Sights, Fiendish. Let me see if Fiendish. Oh, okay. We're gonna check out Fiendish. I don't think I've seen Fiendish, and that's at a 23. It looks a little bit more anime-ish. The reason, and I'm not putting down anime. This is a personal thing. I'm not saying don't buy it because, like again, this is a personal thing. I don't understand about American artists who draw anime style. I don't understand why anime people like drawing anime style because anime everybody draws anime style. It's like the characters all look alike, and I don't understand that. I want to have some kind. You see, like you go to Todd McFarlane, the characters look different than if you go to uh David Finch or uh Jim Lee or uh Mishima or Frazetta, Richard Friend, any of these characters, all of these look differently because they have their own personal style that they develop and they nurture. I don't understand nurturing someone else's style, a whole nation who draws the same basic faces. That's the only thing I don't understand. Other than that, like I said, the art is spectacular as far as anime goes. Manga, some of it is really good with the details and everything like that. And this is looking pretty good too, man. The black and white. I'm trying to get into that too with the, what do they call that? Monochrome, because you can transition this easier into colors. Even though the dude who I watched, he was doing these monochrome things first. He would do this grayscale, and then he would color it. And then he said, "Man, why am I doing 2 and 3 different steps when I could just paint straight to color?" So that's why I said, that's why I never really pushed the issue with grayscale. But I like the way it looks. I like this. See, this breathes. This breathes. I've seen some campaigns where they did so much cross hatching that it doesn't breathe. It's so dark, and I really, you have to let the art breathe. I like spotting blacks. I want to be able to put blacks in my, not just African Americans. I'm talking about yeah, that's just a little yoke junior, little yoke junior. Okay, look at this creature. It's odd. I have to get a little bit more into my creature development too. Uh, I'm going to be making creatures that look less manly and more like. But even though, what is it called? Or anthropomorphic, something like that. Anthropomorphic, something like that. Meaning shaped something like a human, which most animals are. They have 4 limbs. They have the same head, 4 limbs, and the trunk of the body where most of the limbs are. I mean, the organs are. So yeah, let's get out of here. We're gonna call that quits. Check out Fiendish Chapter 1, Demons by Irene Strychowski. Strychowski. So check that out. And we'll be seeing you. Come back to the pit. The pit. We're out of here, people. Yeah, buddy. That messed with my throat. Sorry about that. I haven't done that. Yeah, I like doing those voices, those maniacal voices. All right, I'm out of here, people. See you next time. Please subscribe to the channel if you like the content, and go over to Goddamn Comics and help me build that channel too, because we're gonna be doing a lot of campaigning over there, and we're gonna do campaigning over here too for Mike when it drops. But yeah, go over there and subscribe to the channels, like the videos, and help us grow, people. Help us become a big, massive pit where all my demons, my monstrous forms, and my bestial forms can come and relish in the bestiality. No. Yeah, I'm just bugging out a little bit, people. I'm too old for this. All right, people, I'm out of here. Thanks for coming in, and we'll see you next time on Power Time.